My children and I reread the letter once more, and it seemed to say everything we wanted. My teenage children hugged me, and my daughter was the first to look up at me. "Dad, do you think she'll make the right choice?" she asked thoughtfully. That I frowned. "I hope so, for all of our sakes." My son looked at us. "That's unlikely," he said sadly. "Well, who knows? Your mother might come to her senses," I replied without much conviction. After saying that, we packed our bags and suitcases and headed to our house by the sea. We were planning to go there for the weekend, so now, will it just be a move? We'll see. The cameras in the house were set up to capture everything happening inside, with a live feed accessible on my phone. 2 hours later, as we were unpacking our things, my phone notified me that there was someone in the house, specifically in the kitchen. The alarm had gone off, and the remote camera activated. That we saw my wife reading the letter alone, and then we saw her collapse to the floor. The letter. To my future ex-wife, despite the fact that this past year, or thereabouts, has been difficult because of money and our problems, I'd like to think that we still had each other's backs. But it seems I was mistaken. For some time now, our kids have been telling me how distracted you've been. Honestly, I was so busy watching over the kids and handling all the issues at work that, I admit, I took my eye off the ball and should have noticed that something was wrong. Your family also saw how distant you were at our last family barbecue. Hell, everyone kept looking at you, but you ignored us all, focusing only on cooking and your phone. Your father kept asking me what was going on, and honestly, I didn't have an answer. When I tried to talk to you, it was like talking to a brick wall. Your sister spoke to me privately, and she told me about a man at your work, a man you seem to happily interact with, much younger and more fit. You don't talk to the kids, you don't talk to your parents, and even my parents are worried about you. I know my mother tried to speak with you, but she got no response. Right now, I'm away with the kids, combining a vacation with a business trip. The kids understand what I'm doing. The deal I'm working on is crucial for all of us. It secures our financial future, which, in turn, ensures we can do everything we want, fulfilling all our promises. However, the kids are old enough to understand that this could be where our paths may diverge. 25 years ago, you said yes when I asked you to marry me. From that day on, I've loved you with everything I have. I know I don't always express myself well, but I want to tell you here and now that my love for you is absolute. However, if you do something foolish, break your vows, and cross a line from which there's no return, then it's over between us. So, the choice is yours. Stay faithful, and we can talk through and clarify what you want from our marriage. But whatever you decide, my one requirement, my non-negotiable demand, is loyalty. If you can't agree to that, then it's over between us. I've already prepared the papers. Everything depends on your choice. Do what your heart tells you, and, for heaven's sake, don't think with any other part of you that I know you have a date planned with your friend. If you sleep with him, then your entire family will be informed of our divorce, and yes, I will explain to them why. To everyone we know, I'll tell them why we're divorcing. Well, now it's all in your hands. I hope you'll pull your head out of the sand and send your boyfriend packing. But, as I've already said, if you sleep with him, you will ruin us all and destroy our marriage. Alright, it's your choice. Choose wisely. Just so you know, I'll track down your boyfriend and make it clear to him that he needs to back off. And if he doesn't, he'll regret seducing a married woman. I won't admit to anything, but he may not look quite as handsome after I'm done with him. Your husband and children. At first, I was a little stunned. This wasn't supposed to happen. Seeing my wife faint wasn't part of my plan. I watched for a few more minutes, and finally, she moved and sat up. Then she slowly stood, and I saw tears streaming down her face. She picked up the letter again and reread it, seeming to snap back to reality, and then started shouting at herself loudly. "What a foolish, stupid creature you are, you damn idiot," she muttered to herself. She looked around the kitchen, and when she saw my wedding ring on the table, she cried out in pain. "What have I done? I'm such an idiot. I hope it's not too late." She continued berating herself. Then, there was a knock at the door. She turned and walked from the kitchen to the front door. On the way, as she passed by our set of kitchen knives, she picked up the largest one and headed toward the hallway. The hallway camera began recording, and I saw my wife open the door. A young man, likely around 20 years old, staggered through the entrance. He regained his balance and spread his arms wide. "Bibi, I'm here now. Where's your little husband?" My wife stepped up to him and pressed the knife to his throat. "You have no idea what you've done. You've destroyed my marriage, and now, it looks like most of my family will disown me. I was damn foolish. I gave in to your pressure, almost convincing myself I had the right to sleep with you. I'm such an idiot. Now everyone at work is probably laughing their heads off." A look of horror crossed his face. He had come to see his lover, but now he was standing face to face with a devil. "Thank God I only kissed you," she said. "When my husband speaks to me again, as a husband or an ex-husband, I'll tell him how you tried to convince me I needed your big size. I'll tell him it took you a year just to finally persuade me to even consider sleeping with you once." He stepped forward, trying to push her away, but instead, my wife pressed the blade even deeper into his throat. I saw a thin stream of blood trickling down the blade. "You bastard. I have nothing left to lose. My life is over, so slitting your throat will be quite satisfying. Once you bleed out, I'll cut off your manhood so you can enter hell as a eunuch. And now, back away slowly, open the door, and leave. And don't ever come near me at work or anywhere else." He slowly backed away, his trembling hand opening the door, then turned and almost ran down the driveway that I saw the door slam shut, and then my wife leaned against it, tears streaming down her face. Then, she suddenly stood up and seemed to notice the evening dress she was wearing, one I hadn't bought her. She took the knife and sliced the dress, leaving herself in the black lace lingerie that I had bought her. She ran upstairs, and the bedroom camera turned on. She went to my closet, picked out a shirt she had bought for me, put it on, then went to her own closet and put on an old pair of jeans. Then she started making a call. My phone rang, and, of course, it was my wife. "Yes, Carol, how can I help you?" I said, without any emotion. "Gary, I know you saw him in the house. I know you saw me nearly kill him, and, Gary, God knows, would have gladly slit his throat." There was a manic edge in her voice. "Carol, listen to me carefully. Our kids don't want their mother in prison, and they also don't want me in prison. I can see you're not thinking straight, so I'll tell you what to do. You're going to contact all our families and apologize to them for being a pain for the past year." "Gary, yes, of course, I'll do that. Gary, I'm so sorry, I've been such an idiot. You know I didn't actually sleep with him, right? If I'd even suspected for a moment that you had actually slept with him, we wouldn't be having this conversation," I said with a tense voice. "Now, do as I say. Contact everyone we know and apologize to them, and tell them exactly why we're not together. I want everyone to know how foolish you've been." "Yes, Gary, I'll do everything you said. Gary, just so you know, I really do love you, and if you want a divorce, I won't stand in your way. It's the least I can do. But please, don't erase me from your life." She ended the call and then proceeded to contact her family, my family, her co-workers, and then our friends. My phone went crazy, with 20 messages from friends and family, texts from my wife's colleagues, and various people I didn't even know. But the general message was the same: how foolish my wife was and how she could have done such a thing. My wife looked utterly shattered. It seemed that every person she spoke with struck her like a blow. Eventually, she just lay down, and I saw her lying still. I zoomed in and could see that she was barely breathing. That I sent a message to her phone: "Don't give up. Take care of yourself, and when you're rested, pack a bag and come here. We need to talk." At the same time, I sent a message to a friend from Eastern Europe. He was a bit rough around the edges but very loyal, and he had connections in the darker parts of society. The message read, "Yes, make him disappear." After he read it, I deleted the message and all traces of it from my phone. Only my friend and I knew that I had sent it. The intent of the text was clear enough. Carol arrived 3 hours later. She looked tired and sad but otherwise fine. As she stepped out of the car, the kids ran up to her and hugged her. "Mom, thank you for finally choosing us. We all missed you, even Dad, though he won't admit it," said Alice, our daughter, glancing over at me. Our son, Martin, hesitated for a moment, then looked at me. I nodded, and he walked over to his mother and awkwardly hugged her before stepping back. "Mom, it's good you're here. To be honest, we didn't expect you to threaten your boyfriend," he said with a smile. Carol didn't know what to say. She looked at me and opened her arms. I hesitated for a moment and saw the hurt on her face. "Dad, you're not going to catch an STD just by hugging," Alice said with a smile. Of course, she was right. I stepped forward and hugged my wife, maybe for the last time, and she clung to me, repeating, "I'm so sorry, forgive me," over and over. Eventually, we let each other go. Martin picked up Carol's suitcase and turned to me. "Dad, which room?" "In the guest room." "I'm sorry, Carol, but I can't be with you right now, knowing you were with that jerk," I said, trying to stay calm. "Gary, I know you don't trust me, but I never had sex with him," she said sincerely. "I want to believe you, but for the past year, you haven't really been with me. Mentally, you left all of us, our friends and family behind. So until you show me a clean bill of health, you're staying in the guest room. Just so you know, you can't just come back into our lives just because you threatened your boyfriend. I need more proof from you that you're the woman I married. Gary, I'm so sorry. Is there really no hope for us?" Tears streamed down her face. "At this point, there's very little hope. I'm sorry, Carol, but it's all up to you." I turned and walked into the house, then went to my study and closed the door. I shut my eyes and tried to gather my thoughts. One of the main problems was the lack of information, but tonight I would learn everything. That would allow me to choose one path or another. I woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and toasted bread. I got up and stretched. I checked my phone and saw many messages and voicemails. Most of them supported my actions, but one or two urged me to forgive my wife. Then I saw a series of messages from an unknown number, and the messages were clear. "No sex with your wife. They only kissed. He only touched her outer clothing, sometimes brushed against her bra. No love, he just wanted to sleep with her. He slept with other married women and enjoyed it. Your wife was the only one he didn't sleep with," she kept refusing. "That jerk will never sleep with women again. His tool is gone." This started 6 months ago, and who knows what happened before that. Ask your wife. My advice? If you still love her, stay with her. Just my advice. I'll keep an eye on her for 6 months, and then I'll stop. Good luck. I carefully read the messages and replied, "Thank you, good job." With my phone in my pocket, I walked into the kitchen, where my wife and kids were watching me. "Carol, we need to talk. This has been a long time coming. I should have sat you down and yelled at you a year ago. But now it's easy to talk, isn't it?" Hope and fear reflected on her face through her tears. "Carol, I'm giving you a free get-out-of-jail card, but you need to earn it. You will be the best daughter to your parents, the best daughter-in-law to my parents, the best friend to our mutual friends, and you will work hard at your job. And last but not least, you will be the best mother to our children. You will be the one to take them to soccer practice, drive them to parties, and support them in difficult situations. In short, you will make up for all the crap we've been through this past year because of your emotional affair with that jerk. By the way, don't worry about him, he's no longer your concern." Carol looked shocked for a moment. "Gary, I don't know what to say. I was truly foolish, I followed bad advice and was lied to. I'm also obviously very trusting. But if you give me a chance, I will prove to you and everyone else that I'm not a lost cause. She stood up, hugged me, and then stepped back. I love you, Gary. I always have and always will, and I will show you my love until the day I die. Martin coughed. Dad, take Mom upstairs and show her who's in charge around here. My girlfriend likes it when I take control, he said, laughing. That I grabbed my wife by the hand and pulled her upstairs. I took control of the situation and really showed her who was in charge, but I wore protection. Yes, I had sex with her for several hours. By the end, she could hardly walk or talk, but she had the widest smile I had seen in years. 2 weeks went by, and Carol continued to show everyone, my family, her coworkers, our kids, and especially me, that she was worthy of forgiveness. As for me, essentially, I romantically love her every night and almost every morning before I leave for work. We go to restaurants and bars. She dresses well but never acts inappropriately. She rejects any male attention, her phone is always on, her tracker is always active, and she tells me where she's going, even if she's with family or mutual friends that we meet as couples or families. She never goes out alone. It's her choice, not mine. She gives herself to me the way I like, but I'm not cruel, and I only have sex with her if she wants it and participates. And the doctor who checked her for STDs really asked about her sex life and other lovers. I was there when she grabbed my hand and said, "This is my husband and my lover, no one else will ever compare to this man, he is my life." I almost threw him out, and now, until I die of old age, all of my body belongs to him and only him. The doctor just smiled and shook my hand. Yes, we did have unprotected sex that night. It's so much more enjoyable. And yes, Carol's potential boyfriend disappeared. No one was really looking for him, apparently. Several husbands divorced their wives because of him, and, well, the police didn't do much since one of the affected husbands was an active police officer. Did he die a slow, painful death? No, he didn't die. He is disfigured and powerless, avoided wherever he goes, and his life is a living hell. Do I trust Carol? Hell no. Do I love her? Yes. Does she make up for the fact that she was a terrible person for a year? Damn right, yes. Life in our home is never boring now. Our kids are growing up quickly, and they have their own partners, but they still hang out with us. So, in the end, justice has prevailed.
Thank you for listening until the end. See you in the next episode of Cheating Secrets. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.